And there we have it. Welcome to the Baxter Effect. Your host, John Baxter. And got an exciting show today for you all. I've got someone that's been through a whole lot, some of our favorite people that teach us where we need to be in this world, go through a lot of stuff. And from their story, you can learn a lot. And that's what we're going to be running towards today. Um, Today, we'll be talking about all types of health research, but also an important topic is the vaccine injured. You're going to speak to a lady named Alina Phoenix. She's going to be someone I'll be interviewing today. Not only has she been, but her own children have been as well. We're going to uncover the truth today, of course, expose the hidden understanding as we dive into stuff that the mainstream media won't talk about. We'll be talking about it here live today, right in front of you guys. And also, realize that the topic that we'll talk about today, it will affect millions of people. Millions of people were affected by an R vaccine injured. They can't put their finger on it, exactly what it is. Some people have driven the understanding all the way down into the nitty gritty of really what the cause was. This includes detoxifying yourself and also realizing that your emotions store in your body. And for a lot of us out there, we have stored trauma in our body. We're going to talk to Alina about some of the ways that you can get over this, some of the things that she went through. But with just a little bit more, Alina, I'd say she's a healer, an advocate for emotional and physical wellness, someone involved in helping people detox, rebalance, and reclaim their health. So we're talking about emotional code and emotional intelligence. Huge topic for today. I'm not going to leave you guys in much more suspense. I'm going to bring Alina on now. And there we have it. Alina Phoenix, how's it going?
It's going wonderful. I'm very blessed to be here, and thank you so much for having me.
Nice. We meet a lot of people on here, and we like to find unique people with unique stories, of course. And, when I ran across your story, it was something that needs to be told because this is one of those stories that could be swept in the rug. But we're going to give you full exposure on the different things that you've been working on, the different things that have happened to you. I don't know if you could give us a little bit of a rundown. We'll be talking about emotional code, the vaccine injured, and ways to detox possibly today. And, if you could give a little bit of background about yourself and some of the struggles that you had to go through to achieve this level of understanding.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, I don't have a ton of fancy degrees. I went through the much more rigorous and demanding, if you don't figure this out, you're going to die, sort of school of learning. And that has definitely been a lifelong thing. I did not know it, but I was born with the MTHFR genetic mutation. I have mild spina bifida, and I was also injured at birth. According to my mom, the doctor that delivered me was drunk. He used forceps. He crushed this side of my head, leaving me half deaf for life, and he herniated my umbilical cord. When I was 5 years old, I then had to have a corrective surgery. It was supposed to be snip, snip, done, but they ended up botching that as well and removing a third of my intestines. So I ended up kind of with a fairly difficult setup from the very get-go. And I was always different growing up, always had a lot of emotional dysregulation, physical pain, difficulty fitting in. I understand now that, if I had been diagnosed at the time, I would have been diagnosed with ADHD and perhaps even a little bit on the autism spectrum. And it wasn't until my children were born when I was 21 and 22, and I started doing all of the things that I was supposed to do. I was a good parent. I brought them into the pediatrician. They started getting all shot up, and my kids were getting sicker and sicker and sicker. And when my oldest daughter was close to 2 years old and my youngest was about 9 months-ish, my nephew had a catastrophic vaccine injury. He was taken in at almost 2 years old He had missed an appointment, and so they did a catch up for him, and they injected him with 7 needles full of who knows how many shots. Within 4 hours, his eyes rolled into the back of his head. He started seizing. He lost all of his ability to walk. He lost all of his ability to talk. And that really was a catastrophic injury. He was basically reset to zero. And that was when I really woke up about what was happening with my children. My youngest was, I know now, it was the DTaP scream. She was arching her back. She was screaming constantly. The doctors just kept telling me colic. Oh, that's just colic. She's going to outgrow it. They had me put her on antibiotics and inhalers and steroids. And I mean, so many drugs and medications. And every single time we went in for another round, they just kept getting sicker and sicker. And then when that happened to my nephew, I'm like, that's it. I'm done. I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. They are making my children sicker. And that's when I got labeled crazy. It's when my nephew's family, they no longer actually speak to me. This was my former husband's brother and his children, and they did not believe me about what was going on, but I could so clearly see it. And so I started doing everything that I could to rescue my children and also myself, because I became aware that a lot of the struggles that I was having was also due to this. And so I've been 20 years down this vaccine injury rabbit hole. And oh my God, I am so grateful that RFK Jr. was just put into a position to be able to do something about this. Like, that has given me so much hope, because he has been in the trenches with us mothers for years. And it's crazy because there are so many people that are just losing their minds right now that, oh my God, they might take vaccines away. But if you ever actually looked at the data, these things have never been placebo tested. It says it right in the inserts, and the inserts are very different than the one-page fluff info sheet that they give you when they actually give your children the shots. You need, as a parent, to look at the inserts themselves that are actually included with the vaccine vials. You need, as a parent, to look up what those trials are. You don't have to have a degree to understand that a placebo needs to be there in order to know if a drug actually has any positive or negative effects. I mean, that's basic 6th grade science. We need an inert placebo. In vaccine world, which is a little bit delusional, it is considered unethical to do a placebo, because they just believe that these vaccines are so life-saving that we can't possibly withhold these life-saving drugs from people, and we can only test a vaccine against another vaccine as a placebo. And now that's cigarette science. That's testing Marlboro Reds versus Marlboro Menthols and being like, well, there's similar lung cancer in both groups, and therefore they're all safe. That's what's been done for years.
Did you see the Doge found that Bill Gates gets $4 billion a year of taxpayer money right into his account?
Oh, that is not surprising
yeah.
at all.
Yeah, and I mean, what's he doing with this money? He's killing us. He's using the science to create patents and vaccines that are just going toward injuring people. And so RFK being sworn in was literally the best thing that could happen, because not only are they uncovering the truth, but the truth is that these are not tested vaccines. People suffered, and the one of the reasons that I wanted to help you get your story out as well is because you had to go through this a long time ago alone.
Yeah.
And what could you do? What could you say? How'd they make you feel if you had a problem? You basically couldn't do anything. Go to court, do anything.
That is actually very similar to what's going on today. Those of us who dare to speak out about our very real lived experience were gaslit. We're called anti-vaxxers. I've lost friends. I've lost family. I've had doctors tell me to my face that I'm crazy. I'm a liar, that these symptoms are all in my head. Well, hey, guess what, doc? My brain exists in my head, and brain inflammation is a real common side effect of vaccine injury. And so, yes, some of the injury is literally, physically, actually in my head.
That's so true, right? So what they try to do is basically cause a problem in the nervous system where likely your myocardium, your heart would expand and swell. Your brain would expand and swell immediately after. That's why people are dropping down, losing respiratory rate, the rate, losing their heart pumping. Like all these things are quite common
Very.
with vaccine injury, which happens immediately.
Well, especially with the COVID vaccines, because this was the first time that we've actually seen vaccines be pushed and mandated for adults. Before then, it was only recommended. And as awful as it is, I think it's the best thing that could have happened, because adults know what their health was like before they got the shots, and they can actually use words to speak out. Whereas infants, when we are injecting them from immediately at birth, when they're in the womb, when they're, 1 month, 3 month, 5 months, 6 months old, all they can do is scream. And so they cannot tell us what is going on in their bodies. And so I see the current issue with how adults have been injured as it's awful. And I'm helping a lot of people recover from that. But it's also a blessing in disguise, because I don't think that this injury topic would have ever been talked about without it. The rest of us, those of us who have been living this hell, would just be continued to be shoved off to the side of society, censored, gaslit. I've had posts erased from the internet. Like literally, they are preventing us from talking out.
Yeah, it's super scary, and I'm glad we covered this because a lot of people have actually got their story out on this, and the few people that do, there's a realization with the members watching, the people watching the show, like this is even more real. We knew about it, but it didn't happen during the time of COVID. This has been going on since the beginning, right? And
Yes.
We talked about a lot of stuff today, and I think one of the more another very important topic would be emotional intelligence, emotional code. I know that you have a history here. This is some of the reason why you were able to get through this. Could you give us an understanding of this realm that a lot of people don't understand, and the importance and where this is going?
Oh, yes. So I'm certified in emotion code, body code, and belief code. And this has been a game changer in my health, because did you realize that emotional pain actually lights up all of the same receptors in your brain as physical pain? And even the CDC states that 70% of all diseases are caused by stress. And what's stress other than emotions and sensations that we have a hard time processing that set our nervous system on edge? And so whenever we feel something so intensely that we can't get to the point where we can fully process it and release it, it actually becomes trapped in our body as like a ball of energy. The more of these accumulate, the more likely they are to trigger other imbalances in the body, contribute to faulty beliefs and repetitive thought patterns, and the more likely we are to develop a chronic physical, mental, and emotional issue. When I had my first emotion code, body code session, I was working with a practitioner. She was using muscle testing on some charts, and she was finding things that happened when I was born, things in my childhood, things like there's no way that this woman could have known these things about me. And she was just using muscle testing and charts, and then using her focused intent and an energy tool to basically release those emotions from my body, those trapped energy imbalances and things like that. And so now I've been blessed to learn this technique, and I've helped over 1,700 people at this point in one way or another. And it has been a game changer in my health, because not only can I release these energies from myself, my children, all of the people that I work with, but it has also given me a tool, self muscle testing, which I can then use to help inform my dietary choices. It allows me to communicate with that wisdom on the inside that actually knows if something is good for me or bad for me before I ever use it. And I've actually put out a course online, artofselfmuscletesting.com, to help people learn how to do that for themselves. Because wouldn't it be nice if you had a magic ball that you could say, oh, will this supplement work for me? Like before you took it, before you spent the money on it? Like before I learned how to do this, and I was doing this whole, trying to go all natural. It was like throwing darts in the dark. I didn't even know if I was hitting the dartboard. And I was trying so many things at once because I was so focused on, all right, all of these things have research behind them. They all look like they're going to fix my problem. They're going to help my kids. And, my kids got a lot better, but I myself continued to get worse. I've got a bit more of the issues, especially with those birth injuries involved, as compared to my children did. So I was able to spare them some of the things that I went through, but my own puzzle was incredibly difficult. And so I'm really and truly dedicated to helping people find exactly the right thing for them, because what's right for me is right for me. What's right for you is what's right for you. And we need a real tool to be able to figure that out. And there is an innate wisdom that exists on the inside of us that knows exactly what that is. And if we can just communicate with that part of us, we can get those answers. Then there's a whole complication of sometimes we don't know what the questions are that we need to ask. And that's why it's always good to have additional practitioners and other people to go and get help from, because we're definitely not meant to do this alone either. But I would say probably about 85% of the time, I'm able to figure out what's going on with myself rather than having to go doctor to doctor to doctor, supplement to supplement to supplement. I can ask my body and get reliable answers. And gosh, my health deteriorated to the point where I was 37. Doctors diagnosed me with lupus, scleroderma, fibromyalgia. They told me I was going to be disabled by 40 and dead by 50 with their best help. I'm 45 now. I feel better than I did in my 20s. I'm recovering functions that they told me were absolutely incurable and only ever going to get worse. And between the emotion code, body code, belief code, learning self-muscle testing, chiropractic, using products like your wonderful grounding mat, the terahertz frequencies, things like that, I'm actually living a better life than I did in my 20s. And I have hope to live a long, healthy life instead of being in my grave 5 years from now.
Well, that's great. That's great. And like what I realize when I hear people, like, is it safe to say that basically most all of us have trauma?
Oh, yes. Everybody's got trauma. It's really interesting because I've actually been blessed to be working with a family that is relatively balanced. So one of the things that I do when I start a session is I give a measure of severity, muscle test how severe it is on a scale of 1 to 100. Most people that come to me, they come to me when their issues are like in the 80s, 90s, and close to 100. And these folks, they're relatively balanced. Their most severe issues are starting in the 60s. And so for example, I was just working with a gentleman, and he was having an issue that was stemming back from just terrible twos. He didn't want to go to bed, and that struggle between himself and his parents of not wanting to go to bed, him feeling unheard, unseen, like he didn't matter to them. And it was just the normal toddler, they didn't want to go to bed stuff. So even normal things that happen in our lives, if they cause our emotional system to go to 10, if they cause our nervous system to go into a state of complete dysregulation, even if that same thing would not bother somebody else, that's traumatic to our body. And that can actually be a cause of dysfunction in our body. When we feel unseen, unheard, invalidated, in pain, for something that somebody else might not think is no big deal. And then, we all have some measure of other trauma too, stuff that you think about and are like, oh my God, that just hurts my heart. We all have that. And so it is a real blessing to be able to facilitate people to release these kind of trapped energies. And one of the beautiful things about this modality is you don't have to talk about it. You don't tell me. It's not like talk therapy where we have to exhume and you're crying your eyes out and things like that. I can release it very, very quickly. And I do guarantee that what I find will be relevant to your experience, or people don't pay. And that's something else that I have a problem with most of the medical and healing modalities out there, is that they don't guarantee their work. And so I'm going to be the change that I wish to see in the world. I guarantee my work. I can't guarantee results. We're all lovely, wonderful onions, lots and lots of layers. I can speak from my own experience that, even though I've got a couple of decades into healing these lifelong problems that I've had, I'm not where I want to be. It's going to continue. But am I a lot better than I was? Oh, yes. And every time I do sessions for people, people are mind blown at the things that come up. And so I am going to guarantee my work. If what I find is not relevant to you, I'm going to give you your money back. I don't want your money if I'm not helping. And I think that's the way healing should be.
Absolutely. And I've heard people say this, what if our current system took on this type of understanding? If you don't help someone, you don't have to pay. Like, literally, that should be the premise. I think in other countries, you pay a doctor once he's helped you, not just be on this merry-go-round where you're continuing to get confused, you're continuing to spend more money, you're in a system it's a one-sided system full of fear, and you're
not
not
only that,
information.
Like, not only that, but there's a disincentive for them to do a good job, because if they hurt you and you need more medical care, they just profit more. Literally, they just profit more. Oh, I'm sorry. That drug put you in the hospital and now you need emergency surgery. Well, guess what? Instead of a $5,000 bill, now you've got a $50,000 bill. Sorry, no refunds. And you're not even going to get an apology most of the time.
No one's going to call you. No one's going to call you except the finance company saying you owe us money. So, just to keep it moving here, we've got a little bit of time left, and I definitely want to talk about detoxification. So we talked about two other important things, and I think this third possibly is just another side of this triangle that's super important. Could you cover the different ways that people could be detoxing, and including EMFs, right? Detoxing EMFs in the life, detoxing these chemicals. I'll let you have the floor on this.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, detoxing is so important. The MTHFR genetic mutation is actually present in up to 40% of the population from the research that I've read, and that impairs our ability to detoxify. It makes it difficult for our nerves to methylate, so our nervous system becomes more easily dysregulated, and we don't produce as much glutathione, which is the master antioxidant, so we can't get toxins out of our body. And so people that have this genetic mutation at some level are more susceptible to vaccine injury. They're also more susceptible to developing chronic disease. And so detoxing is a huge, important thing for especially this group, but also for everybody, because I don't know if you've noticed, but there's toxins in everything. Hey, can I get the poison-free food, please? Oh, I'm sorry, we charge extra for that. This is America. Love our system. Love it so much. Anyway, so it is really important to detoxify and on a regular basis. First and most important thing is to just do your best to eat clean, organic, whole foods as much as possible. Grow your own garden if you can. Even a little bit is going to make a difference, because they're spraying so much stuff. Our soil is so depleted. That we don't get as many minerals as our body needs. Mineral deficiencies, vitamin deficiencies are huge in our population. And so getting a high quality electrolyte like superior electrolytes, that's a full spectrum, that's going to help remineralize your body and enhance your ability to detoxify. Supporting your liver, kidneys, colon with specific supplements like dandelion root, marshmallow, licorice. Those are all good for your liver. Burdock root, parsley, that's good for your kidneys. Chia seeds, psyllium huskes, cascara sagrada, those are good for your colon. Lemons, apples, celery. I mean, these are really good for helping to support our lymphatic system. And then there are some specific products in the market like nano zeolites. My favorite is advanced TRS, that can really help your body get rid of some of the toxins that are lodged in places like our brain and our tissues. In fact, a lot of the reason why people hold on to weight so much is because when our body encounters a toxin and doesn't know what to do with it, it sequesters it in fat very, very frequently. And so if you have been struggling to lose weight, detoxing can really be a huge, important piece of that puzzle, getting the toxins out of your body. And it has to be done slowly, because if we try to get these toxins out faster than our elimination systems can handle, then we're just releasing them into the bloodstream and they're going to bump around and lodge somewhere else, causing other symptoms. So it's really important to make sure that your detox pathways are open before you start doing a detox protocol. And so you want to either be muscle testing yourself, working with a knowledgeable naturopathic holistic practitioner of some kind. Nutrition response testing is really good one. And then there's also, because we have so many metals in our body, we are so susceptible to EMF radiation. And that is a big cause of a lot of issues: heart palpitations, depression, anxiety, insomnia, hypertension, cancers. Your wonderful grounding products, your EMF protection canopy, are amazing. And, since I am an affiliate, you can use my code Phoenix, Phoenix, on antiagingbed.com if you're going to check out those products. John Baxter makes amazing products that help you to protect your body and to mitigate that inflammation from the EMFs. I'm also an EMF protection creator with Organite. This has actually got 29 crushed and powdered metals and crystals in there in a resin matrix. When the resin hardens, it puts pressure on the metals and crystals, which creates a piezoelectric effect, which creates a high vibration, highly organized energetic field. And because of the principle of, brain just lost the word, but basically a high vibration and a low vibration cannot coexist. And so when a low disorganized vibration goes into a highly organized vibration field, what happens is the high vibration comes down a little bit and the low vibration harmonizes with that. And so it eliminates the harm from it without impacting your ability to utilize your electronic devices. And I'm sure once we're done with this, that word that I forgot is going to come to me, but that's okay.
Oh, it's quite fine. I think if someone wanted to reach out and get a hold of you, what's your social media? What's your website? Give us a lowdown of how we can reach you, Alina.
PhoenixHealingCreations.com is my website. You can also find me on Facebook. I am working on starting my own podcast. I've got a YouTube page. You can find me there. But the best way to find me is PhoenixHealingCreations.com. You can make an appointment. You can get my phone number there. You can send me a message and an email. And I'm going to do my best to help in any way that I can. My goal is to help each individual with what exactly they need.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I think the show that we did today could help millions of people.
Gosh,
and in that regard, please like, share, comment, help us get the message out. If you have a comment that you would like, leave it in the messages. Someone will get back with you. Make sure you reach out to Alina. Alina, thank you so much. I really enjoyed our talk today, and the information you shared was so wonderful for our audience. But
Oh, thank you so much for having me here. And thank you for everything that you're doing. All of the products that you are bringing to the world are so needed right now and so important. And so, if you are listening to this and you haven't checked out John's work at antiagingbed.com, you definitely should, because there are so many cool things there.
awesome. Well, I know we're on time, so I really appreciate you, Alina. I'd like to have you on again. So,
I would be
any
honored.
last thing you'd like to say to the audience?
Uh, your ability to heal is far greater than what you believe. And I would be honored to walk with you on your healing journey path, because I know that no matter where you are, no matter how bad or how hopeless it is, things can get better. I am living proof of that. It took me getting to almost death's doorstep to be able to turn things around, but I did, and I'm here to show other people the way.
What a great message. Thank you so much, Alina.
Thank you.
Have a great one.
You too.
And there we have it. That was a great show. Hopefully you got something from it. There's some real information there that you can digest. If you have any questions, please reach out to her, and realize that unveiling this with regular everyday people is the right way to do it. You're hearing a real live testimonial story about someone that was vaccine injured, not only her, but her own children. Realize if you're going through certain things in your health journey, contact us, Anti-Aging Bed. Leave a comment, type in Baxter. Someone will be getting back with you. And this is so important because we're not just leading a movement, we're basically leading the charge in technology as well. And our sponsor, Anti-Aging Bed, has been here. We've got 86 health technologies, patents. We're leading grounding, frequency, energy medicine throughout the world. And just changing everyone's lives has been a passion of mine. So it starts with our grounding product, and it goes from there. If you check us out, it's in the link below. It's sponsor Anti-Aging Bed. We also have a movement around saving bees. We have a movement around taking agriculture into the 21st century by utilizing our veterans. So in that regard, we believe in saving bees. No bees, no humans, right? Because if you can't pollinate a plant that gives food for humans, if there's no bees, there's no plants, there's no fruits, there's no vegetables. So we really stand behind that movement, and Operation Honeybee is in the link below. If you're interested in honey and getting your health back, there's nothing really better than honey for your body. It's a natural sugar. Stay away from processed sugars, and also lead the charge in saving bees. Let's let our pollinators proliferate like they once did. The time is now to make the change. With everything going on in agriculture, as we hear with pesticides, Wi-Fi's, EMFs, all distracting this little harmless little bee. The little bee is much more like your little pet, your little cat, or your little dog. You should think of it like this. Bees are not aggressive. The media has sensationalized bees as stinging things that you should be afraid of, just to sweep under the rug the importance of bees. Healthy pollinators create healthy plants that we eat. And so, yes, we're going to continue pushing these forward. And so, without much more, I hope you enjoyed the talk today. We have a double header likely today. There might be another show going on in a couple more hours. So stay tuned. Like, share, comment, share this podcast with someone that you may know that may had a similar issue. And until next time, thank you guys so much. This has been so fun. And leave a comment below, and essentially we will get back with you. Thank you guys so much, and have a wonderful rest of